Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Pete De La Torre Show, episode 26. My sponsors today include Miami-Dade College and the Health Channel. We're going to take a look at the success of Hispanic immigrants. Our two guests today represent exactly what that very exciting and growing theme is all about. We're going to open it up with Juan Manuel Fayen, the head and the chairman of the JMF Consulting Group. And my second guest is Miosotis Jones, the author of Alchemia del Divorcio. My first guest, Juan Manuel Fayen, came to the United States with a different mindset as to what he was doing overseas and Latin America, and actually opened up new types of businesses. One of the things you're going to find out in this conversation, which is very important, is his passion as a social entrepreneur. Let's listen to that conversation. All right, welcome to the show, Juan Manuel Fayen. How are you, my friend?
Very good, Pete. And you?
I'm doing fantastic. I know getting a hold of you is a challenge because you are traveling and doing so much. So I feel very fortunate that we are having the opportunity to speak today on this program. Juan Manuel, what you're about to share is a very, very inspiring story and something that I think will set the example for so many entrepreneurs here in the States and around the world. Before we get into that, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, thank you very much for the opportunity, first of all, Peter, and I appreciate to spend this short time with you and sharing with your people and friends about my person. Personally, my origin is French. I was born in Venezuela. My dad and my mom were from France, and I started to work in Venezuela and make my study in Venezuela. I moved into France 10 years to make the high school and then coming back to Venezuela. And 7 years ago, I take the decision to move from Venezuela to USA. And during my time in Venezuela, I work a little bit in a few areas, auto spare part, buses, transportation, public transportation. Also, we work with cable cars and we developed a company with some partners in public transportation. And then I decided to move to USA.
Well, that's the next question I was going to ask you.
Yeah.
Obviously, France, Venezuela. Why the United States?
I think it was very at the very beginning when we decided to move for safety reason and because I didn't see any future for my kids. My wife and I took the decision to move to another country. However, the decision was very difficult because we have on our mind two or three destinations. One of them was obviously France, but I decided to eliminate France from my map because I think it was not possible to develop the activity that I did in Latin America from France. This is the first thing. Second, we took the decision to go to Panama and to Santo Domingo. However, both of countries did not fulfill our requirement. The quality of life is not the same that we used to be have. So we had a vacation condo here in Miami, and we said, okay, we already have a vacation apartment in Miami. We have a car also there. Why we try Miami? And this was the decision why we moved to Miami. And also our two kids said to us, we prefer to live in Miami than Panama or Santo Domingo or France. So this was the main decision. Why Miami? Why USA?
I absolutely love it. And I know that you had some other businesses that you have done and continue to do abroad. But when you came to Miami, you've expanded. You've expanded the types of businesses, and you and your fellow colleagues have began investing in real estate here in
Yeah,
Miami, and specifically in the Doral area.
yeah.
And then because I know that you are your whole family has a background in cars and automobiles, and you're collectors. And I know in the background, I think if I'm not mistaken, I don't know if it was your father that was a famous car driver. Is that correct?
Yeah, correct. Yes.
So, yeah.
Let me tell you about, because it's a long story. I will try to make a long story short. When we moved to Miami, we decided to continue with our abroad business in South America, because we have branch office in Bolivia, in Paraguay, and Colombia, and also Santo Domingo. So I decided to move, not the headquarters, but my base, in order to work, because it's a fantastic hub, Miami, in order to fly to South America. It was also a very important decision when we decided to move to Miami, because it's a very important hub, and I can fly everywhere very fast.
Yep.
So I said also, okay, we moved to Miami. My wife create a company here, okay, and I create separately an investment company in order to develop our dream, which is my dream. My dream is cars, because I came from a family from France and Venezuela who deal with cars, and my father was a race driver on the 50s and 60s. So I was involved all the time in cars, in racing, in go-karts, and all the time. I remember Saturdays and Sunday with my father on the racetrack and so on. And Saturday also in the business of my father in Caracas, in the car dealer that he had, no? So we decide here to develop a little bit about this area, but more focus for collector, because I had two cars, and I said, wow, where I put my cars? I have only one spot on my condo. I say, where I put my cars? And I say, okay, I will leave my car on my office, and I continue to buy 3 car, 4 car, 5 cars. And recently a friend of mine say, you have to make a condo for car. And when he say condo for car, I say, wow, what a great idea. Fantastic. So I decided to make a big complex. The name of the complex today is Collection Suites. We built a very nice complex with 38 spots. You know very well. You have been there a few times, and also we decide to move also forward with the construction of warehouses, and also with a partner we built a school, a special needs school here in Doral. Yeah. So and we specialized also to buy very old building, and we refurbish and sell it. This is mainly what we did here in Miami and in Doral.
I want to get to that part, which is very important. You are someone who really believes in giving back to the community, and wherever you're at. You've done this internationally. You did it abroad. You told me about the story of you were mountain hiking and you ran to a village that needed. Where was it that you were doing? What the mountain hiking? I can't remember exactly.
Trekking.
We're tracking, but where were you in the world?
In Nepal.
And you saw a need in the village, and you invested, and you helped them there. And you just mentioned the school for children with special needs, which then automatically made you a social entrepreneur.
Yes,
someone who creates economic opportunities, but also gives back to the community. Tell us a little bit about why that's important to you.
Yes, my wife and I, all the time during our life, I already have 34 years married with my wife, and all the time we participate in a non-profit association in order to help the people who cannot have the possibility to send the kids to a special needs school. So we participate in this kind of association in Venezuela. And my wife still participating here in USA in some organization. And on my side, when I saw what I saw 6 years ago in Nepal, after the very big earthquake happened there 6 years ago, where kids have to walk around 4 to 5 hours per day in order to go to the school, I took the decision to build one dorms and one school in Nepal, in a very special village, no? And we found 100% of the construction. And also we, after that, I say, okay, we have to help the community, no? And why I say my name, I like to say that I'm a social entrepreneur, because they have different social entrepreneurs. They have the community, they have the non-profits, they have the transformational entrepreneur, and they have also the global social entrepreneur. They have different kind of entrepreneur. I say that if you are a guy that work very hard and you are a lucky guy and you making money, you have to give a little bit share of this money that you win to the community. You have to return to the community your profit, no? Because you know you live in a community, and some people need have special needed, and sometimes they don't have the money to afford it. So the decision here in Doral to make this special needs school is a very nice story, because originally in this piece of land behind the Savior's High School,
Divine Savior,
Divine Savior, yes, we originally want to build a big building for offices and to rent it and to continue to make profit, no? So we met at this time the Pastor Carlos, the CEO of the Divine Savior. And he say, hey guys, I need this piece of land. And he say, well, what do you want to do? I want to do a special needs school. I say, wow, it's not our project. Our project is a building. He say, yes, but you know what? We need a special needs school. They have some kid living here in the world and have to go until Kendall to go to the nearest special needs school. So we talk with him and we say, okay, Pastor, we're going to build the special needs school for you. We get an agreement, a good agreement for the community, a good agreement for us. And we are very happy, because Pastor Carlos said to us at the very beginning, I expect to have the capacity of this special needs school is around 40 special need, 40 how we say kids, no? And he expect the first year to have 10 to 15, and then the next year to 30. And the first year fully booked. So we are very happy.
That tells you what the need is.
Is very important.
Continues to meet, and
exactly.
as we wrap up this conversation, Juan Manuel, and we can go on for hours, and we have off the camera here, but it for me it's inspirational what you have done along the way, and what has brought you here to the city of Doral specifically, where you have your offices, where you have your operations there, and you're giving back to the community that you're working with, and that you and your colleagues have been able to prosper from. You have shared that, and I think that's a perfect and beautiful example that every entrepreneur, especially the ones that are doing well, should really consider giving back to the community. It may be a special needs school, it may be whatever it is, but that you give back and you can make a difference. So not only did you come to this country as an immigrant, but you have been successful in this country, and through that success, you thought it was important enough to give back. And I know that there will be other projects along the way, both from a business perspective and a giving back perspective. That's important, because that's in your DNA as an individual, and the folks that are around you. So I want to congratulate you and thank you for what you have done and continue to do. And it's a blessing for all of us to have individuals like you in our backyard.
Absolutely, I agree with you. Thank you very much. I think we have to donate, we have to participate, we have to help the community. And as an entrepreneur, I think we, the entrepreneur, have to help the community where we live, where we work. And if we can help the people to have a better quality of life, this is for us very important. I would like to tell you a very short example. For example, on the construction of the cable car that we used to be do in Latin America, we upgrade the quality of life of the poor people because instead of taking 3, 4, 5 hours to get the job every day from the house, now with the cable car, for example, they have only they took only one to 1.5 hour, and this is, if you translate this over the year, they can win quality of life around 1 month. It means that they can spend 1 month more
With their
with
families.
the family during the
Yes.
whole year. So this, at the end, we have to, I like to make business where I leave something and where somebody can remember that we do something for the community. This is the, at the end, what we like to do.
I love it, and I congratulate you. And we're gonna have you and I gonna have many, many more conversations. So thank
For
you
sure.
so much for being with us on this program today.
Thank you, Pete. See you next time.
All right, take care of yourself.
Bye bye.
Hey, a big thank you to Juan Manuel Fayen for inspirational words and how important it is for any entrepreneur to serve their local community. And now for my second guest, another successful Hispanic immigrant story. We're going to learn more from Miosotis Jones. She is the author of Alchemia del Divorcio, a first time book that she is writing and will be releasing in January. Let's listen to my conversation with Miosotis Jones. Okay, it's my pleasure to bring back for a second time to the show Miosotis Jones, the author of Alchemia del Divorcio. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Pete. Thank you for having me again on your show.
We spoke the very first time about this passion, this desire from your end to share your story, and we had a great start. We had a lot of great comments from our viewers. For the benefit of those that are joining us for the second time and all of our new viewers, can you tell us a little bit what the book is about and why you wrote it?
Yes, Alchemia of Divorce, Alchemia del Divorcio. It's a very personal and intimate memoir that I wrote my story while I was married, while I was divorced, while we got back together, and while we break up for good after a 20 years relationship. So in this memoir, I give a more positive approach to divorce, the one we usually have. Instead of see it as a failure, I want to see divorce as a new opportunity to start over, to reinvent yourself, and to be happy again. Why not? To fall in love again.
You know, I love what you just said, reinvent yourself. We've heard so much of that, especially through the COVID pandemic, where everybody has been forced to reinvent themselves, to do something new or do something different or new with what they've already been doing, and that includes all of our life there. Um, so let's move forward. Let's move forward, and let's start with chapter one, which it is my understanding that the chapter one that will be in the book is not necessarily the one that you had intended in the first place. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, the first chapter of my book, Sin Ropa y Sin Zapatos, that is free on my website, miojones.com. I choose that chapter because was the first time that I went really down emotionally, like rock bottom in my life, in my marriage life. And the purpose, the why I wrote this memoir is because I want to help and motivate other people to move on with their life after a breakup or a divorce. Relationships are very painful, but um, when I decide to write this memoir, I say if I want to help others to move on from their pain, I need to show them my pain. And that's my motivation to come out publicly as a memoir, showing my
Right.
most vulnerable time of my life, you know. And for somebody as private as me, all my life being, under the radar, out of social media, the purpose of this book has put me on the spot. I show in this book how vulnerable we are when we are in pain, and I could relate with everybody.
Do you, um, is your intention uh, to make the chapter one the foundation for the entire book?
Well, I think when you go through the wars, you could navigate through everything. So yes, this first chapter, it was very tough to me to even to write about, because after what happened, me and my ex-husband, we didn't speak about ever,
Mhm.
you know. So even writing it down to put it on paper after many years, we're speaking about almost 13 years that that first chapter happened.
Mhm.
And I decided to write about this book after we break up for good. So that was supposed to be the first chapter, the trip to Philadelphia, because this is when everything went downhill. But then finding that connection with the people to show them how vulnerable we are about breaking up and divorce, even if we don't speak about, we all go through difficult times. So I choose that chapter for me to show people, to identify with them.
That's a great thing because the more that we can connect with people, uh, uh, the things that we have gone through in our lives, everybody has a different story, but yet there's so many similarities, especially with the emotions, the things that we are feeling when we're going through our adversity, our challenges. So there's many folks out there that are looking for answers to
Uh,
their situations, and
I'm
it sounds,
glad.
huh?
I'm glad you mentioned emotions. You know why? Because when when I speak about divorce, it's very personal to me.
Mhm.
Because when I was 12 years old, my mother already had divorced three times. So divorce touched me very deeply. So I grew up thinking that me, myself, I will have the happily ever after that my mom didn't have or couldn't have. I will find my prince, fall in love, get married, have children, and live happily ever after. But it didn't happen that way.
Mhm.
Marriage is very far from that. In
Mhm.
fact, I think we have been lied to through the books and the Disney's movie. And now that I am in business, I realize that marriage is the most difficult enterprise to manage
Of course.
because our emotions are involved. In business, we take calculated risk, we take objective decision, conscious decisions, but in marriage or in relationship, we take emotional decisions, and that make it different how we handle things. So I will say that there's not a formula to happy marriage, but I could say that now that we are older and we are wiser, our expectations about marriage are not the same as when we were 20 that we got married the first time, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
So, to me, if I could speak about marriage in a few words, I will say, compromise, love, respect, and forgiveness. There's
That's a
not a
great
fine
that's a
there.
that's a great pivot you just made right now. The following question I was going to ask you about forgiveness, is that the most important theme of the book?
I think in order to move on, we have to let go many things. And the best way to let go things are through forgiveness. Okay, so there is a Buddhist philosophy that says that the more we resist to change, the more we suffer. And life is a constant change. We fall in love, we get out of love, we get married, we get divorced. We are born, we grow up, and we die. Nothing stays the same.
Mhm.
So the more we resist that our relationship is finished, or the reasons why, the more we're gonna suffer. So that I have found it myself easier to move out of there is through forgiveness. And I will speak more about that in the part of the alchemy, that is the second part of the book, where I speak about my personal growth.
Well, this is a three-part series. Today is number two.
Yes.
And very, very soon, the next few weeks, we will be doing the third part of these conversations leading up to the release of the book that I believe is coming up in January. Is that correct?
Yeah,
Is
and
that still
last
on the
week of
books?
January, correct. Yes.
Okay, so we're leading up to that big, big day for you and so many out there that are going to be benefited by listening to what you have to share. Um, can you give us a sneak preview of what we will be talking about in our third conversation?
That part I have reserved to speak about the alchemia, where I speak about emotional transformation. You know, today I am somebody who is happy and content with her life, that have made amendment with my past, that have managed to have a healthy relationship with my ex, and we are doing a great team raising our kids, and the kids are happy and doing great at college. Me and Mary, I have a successful business. So if I could throw them the pain, show them my pain through the first part. In the second part of the alchemia, I show them my keeping lessons, what I learned through, and how I use pain as my fuel to be where I am today. And the purpose of this book is to help others to move on after a breakup or a divorce.
And that is a lot to look forward to for our third conversation. How can the viewers and the listeners get a hold of the book, or where do they need to do in order to get the first copies to come out of the book?
Yes. Um, they could go to my website, miojones.com, and download the first chapter for free, and follow us in social media, and we're going to be guiding them and telling them exactly when the book is coming out and where they could get it. And on the meantime, they could see all the positive things that we are doing uh, through the social media, with the same purpose to encourage and help others to reinvent themselves.
Alchemia del Divorcio, Miosotis Jones is the author who is sharing something very personal to her, and that is very powerful. And we cannot look forward, really can't look, I can't wait. I can't wait to our third conversation. Looking forward to the interesting things that you will be sharing with us. And I'm sure the audience feels the same way. So I want to thank you for being on the program.
Thank you, Pete. Thank you for having me. Thank you for the viewers. Thank you for letting me connect in with them. And we keep in touch, guys. Looking forward to see you on the third interview. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. Have a great day. Take care of yourself. Bye-bye. Hey, a big thank you to Miosotis Jones for sharing her personal story and the things that motivated her to write her very first book. I want to take a moment to thank you that are with us on all of these programs. Keep sending your comments and your feedback. They are important to me because it helps me design our future programming for your benefit. If you get a moment, follow me on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and subscribe to my YouTube channel, Pete Della Torre. And you can also listen to this show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and TuneIn Radio. Thank you so much for being with me today. You make it a fantastic week. Take care and God bless.